See, there are two things. One, Patinen Melkanakku. So what is this basically? See, if you want to derive it, try to understand it. What is Pattu in Kannada language, let's say, or in Tamil? Pattu means how much? 10, right? So here what it is? Patinen. That means that 18, right? 10 and 8. Patinen means 18, right? So this 18 again, male kanakku, keel kanakku, right? Male kanakku means male means what? Greater, right? Keel means basically the lower level, right? So in that way, so it is basically 18 greater works is called Patinen male kanakku. Similarly, Patinen keel kanakku means it is 18 lesser works, right? Greater works basically means that they will having the broader perspective, right? So that means that it comprises works on the love as well as heroism, right? So here they have divided further into two parts, right? So 18 has been divided into two parts. One, Ettu Gotai, another is Pattu Pattu, right? So again, if you look at here, Ettu means basically Ethin, that means that again 8. Eti Gotai means 8 anthologies, right? That is a story about this. Similarly, Pattu Pattu means again it is about Pattu means again 10. So that is 10 prose plus 8, right? One is about idyls, 10 idyls. This is about 8 anthologies. Okay. So that is basically total 18, right? Here it is having more of a narrative and related story. It is not about ethics, what you are supposed to do. It is not more philosophical, right? Here another basically Patinen Keel Kanakku, it is more about ethics, more about didactic. That is basically it consists of a didactic and ethical, right? So that is about your, the answer. So that is basically, it is a different to two themes, right? So here what you will get, Tiruvakkar will come here. That is Patinen Keelmanakku, you will have Tiruvakkar. That is, the Tiruvannur has been written, many of the time whenever in UPSC we have seen, whenever, the budget starts, they give that, in the budget and economic survey, they are talking about Tiruvannur, what he has given his quote. That is nothing but he is a Sangam poet who talked about more about ethics, how the system should be, how your character should be, how that is basically comes under the Patinen Keelmanakku. That is basically the lesser works, 18 lesser works, 18 greater works. So you should not mug up Patinen, that Patinen is 8, 10, Pat is 10, and Patinen means 18, right? That is 10 and 8. So total 18. Within that again Ettu Gotai and Pattu Pattu. Pattu means 10, again another. So that is basically Pattu Pattu. Like that, if you remember, you know that this is about 8, this is about, right? So that is the first answer, right? Both have love and war, it is not about just trade and commerce. It is more about ethical work that you are reading about, right? Now, which of the following is not a primary setting in the narrative of Silpadikaram? As I told you, Silpadikaram talks about capitals of all three kingdoms. All three kingdoms, we together call it as Movender. Movender means three kings, right? So that is basically, Chera, Chola, Pandya. So what was the capital of Chera? Vanji, right? So similarly, what was the capital of, Cholas? There are two capital, one Uraivar and another was Puhar or Kaveri Pattanam. The Kaveri Pattanam original name was Puhar, right? So that is basically your, similarly Madurai was capital of Pandyas. So, the Kanchipuram was the not the scene that has been, it has become later part of the Cholas, right? So it is, came very late into the scene altogether, right? So during Pallavas, they established Kanchipuram, that has been happened in the later period. It is nothing to do with basically Silpadikaram. The three capitals of the three kingdom has to be known. So the answer would be Kanchipuram, right? primary philosophical theme of the epic Manimekalai. As I told you, later what she will convert into? She will convert herself into Buddhism. So this is about Buddhist teachings, right? So she faces lot of problems. Even then she was very beautiful, and so the king basically has to become her partner, but she has already decided that she will be already got carried away with Buddha's teachings. So there is no looking back. So she basically can't with this thing. So here there is one Buddhist teacher will also come, Aravai or something, that name will come. So who will influence her and talk about Buddhism, how it is in, and finally she will get into Buddhism or convert herself into Buddhism. So basically this kind of broader understanding question will be asked, right? So this you should be knowing, right? So whenever you are studying, what I have done here, right? Now one larger picture you should have, which kingdom comes where, right? Chera comes in Kerala and the western or southwestern part of Tamil Nadu. Then you have your Madurai part, that is completely southern part of the Tamil Nadu will be Pandyas, and little upper, that is in the Kaveri delta, you will have Cholas. So that basic broader understanding you should have. Then important port you should be knowing. For example, Puhar. Puhar is nothing but Kaveri Pattanam. Puhar is the older name, right? As well as Nagapattinam. This is also a port during the early Chola period. That you should be knowing the port of them. Along with that, you should be knowing Madurai, right? And their important port was what? Korkoi, right? So this Korkoi was famous for what? Pearl fishing, right? It is very well known for pearl fishing, right? So you should be knowing about it. Similarly, there are, with respect to Cheras, right? There are two important ports here. Only one is there. Another important is there. One is Muchiri or Muziri. It has been written. Another is Tondi, right? These two are important port related to Cheras. So you should be knowing about them, right? Then you have that, three Sangams, where has held, two has held in Madurai, one has held in basically, that is Kapadapuram, right? So that is you should be knowing, in the which basically only grammar text Tolakka PM was surviving, that has been read. Similarly, in the third Sangam, actually nothing, first Sangam you don't have anything, but in the third Sangam, again, it has again flourished in Madurai. Then you have, as I told you, Ettu Kottai, that is Ettu means 8, right? So that is 8 anthologies, as well as Pattu Pattu, that is 10 ideals. Both are part of, total Panithen Markalai. So that is basically, that is 18 greater worka, it is part, right? Similarly, this is how the classification is there. One is Tolakka PM. It has been composed earlier. Within that, which is nothing but a grammar book. Along with that, Patinen Melkanakku, then Patinen Kilkanakku. These two are two different things. Within Patinen Melkanakku, again, Ettu Kottai, that is 8, right? As well as Pattu Pattu. Within the two important themes will come Agam or Aham, and another is Puram. Agam and Aham means love or the interior part. Puram means outside, that is war, other things, bravery, everything has been discussed in the Puram theme. So these books has been written in two different themes. So broader settings that you are supposed to know, and this is basically Aviparakapyam. That means that basically it is about the epics we are talking about. There were 5 major epics was there, right? Within that 5, majorly you should know about what? One, Silpadikaram, another is Manimekalai. So these two you should be knowing about it. Then understand, the important Cheras, Cholas, Pandyas, right? Then there is something called, the land was divided according to the ecological zone, or it is called as Tenai system of dividing the system. That is ecologically, hilly tract, pastoral land, then coastal area, arid desert, like that, different, because the rare land taxes were different based on the region. It was not that, the land tax was same for across everyone. If it is a fertile land tax was more. If it is a arid land, so that means the classification as last or has been done in the ecozone or a Tinai system. Here you should be knowing the broader about that system also, right? Then basically the important terminology, that is Muturai Kanchi, Pattinam Padai, right? Padirappattu. You have seen this Padirappattu option. One of the option was Padirappattu. This is basically a book which has been spoken about Chera kingdom. And similarly, Pattinapalai basically is a book which talks about Kaveri Pattanam. Similarly, Madurai Kanchi is a book which talks about Madurai in detail, which has again seen in one of the option they have given that, Pandyan kingdom, Madurai was been explained what it was. It has been surrounded by 3 fort and one side it is by river. It has been told in this book, right? Then important terminologies, right? Then, just to go through this. So what I will do is, all these things I just give you as PPTs, right? You just take that and read what it is, right? So only terminologies, and this has been taken by Upinder Singh. That is the only kind of Bible for your, ancient India. But you cannot read it because it becomes too huge to read actually. So what I do is I go through it, what is really important. I keep that keywords here. So that what is your job? You have to fill this. What is Velaliyar? What is Katikai? You have to search the internet and fill it. So if you do only this much, right, for all the chapters, that would be more than sufficient, right? So, Guptas also, I will give you all the terminology, everything that is been discussed there. So what you can do is, you just go through them, add the things, right? Last time they had asked this, what is the practice of Vatta Kirutal? Vatta Kirutal is what? Whenever someone is basically get defeated in a war. So, what he will do? He basically do the suicide by not having any food. So he become basically be hungry and then he become create a suicide. So that is basically about this. So this is basically what you are supposed to study. Only terminology, if you know all these terminologies are available in the book, right? So just the terminology I will give you, just know what is the meaning of it, write it in front of them. That would be more than sufficient, right? So in that way, these are all just terminologies, right? Now if you look at here, right, this Anakku, what is the word meaning of Anakku is basically they were thinking this magics as the sacred art, right? So that is basically called as Anakku. The magic is not about this magic that we are talking about. The magic is about what? Which magic we are talking about? So Tantra, black magic we are talking about, right? So that has been considered as a great thing. And people who performing them, Pariyans, Tutiyans, Panans, Velans are those people who are performing this black magic. This terminology was used this. For you, only you should just know the name, that's it. The Arakku is about black magic, who are performing is the this. In line one liner, if you just know, it is more than enough, right? Similarly, women were basically having the different roles. There were women poets were also there in the Sangam age. Along with that, foster mothers or the wet nurses were there. They were called as Chevittai. Like that, different terminologies are there. So that you are supposed to just to know, right? Similarly, Viraliyar are the girls who are dancers, right? The bard dancers. So basically, that they are called as Viralayar. So like that, basically various terminology has been used, right? IHR, Koviachar, all these are shepherds, right? Like that, the terminology, whatever used in that book, basically I have not searched anywhere else again to add more content. Whatever that is there in the book, only question will come from there. So, I'll just take out all the words from there and I have given it to you. You just go through them and write it wherever it is. Natukal. What is that? Natukal means what? Stone. Right? What is Natukal? Heroic stone. Whoever dies as a, this thing, they will create a stone him and believe that his, Atma will or soul will stay there. Like that, basically, they will be doing it. So that is basically, if you are winning, you will have this Virukal or Natukal. If you are losing, then with that humiliation, what you will do? You will do the, the practice of Vatta Kirutal was being practiced. Right? And major king has to be known. 3 important kings are there. So know about those kings basically. That's it. Right? Here I have given the major port also. Right here, King Karikala from the Chola dynasty, you should know, because he was there for one, Kallani Dam on the Kaveri he has built. For that you should be knowing, and Battle of Vengi that he has fought for. 2 things that you should be knowing about him. Similarly, Senguttuvan, he is actually known for Himalayan expedition. That means that he went north and won the wars. Along with that, as I told you, this Kannan, that the story about Kannagi and all happened. Na? So because of that, basically a new cult has started. They have started worshipping her, which is called as Pattini cult. It has been happened during the period of this king. So that much you should be knowing. Similarly, for hill track, they were worshipping the Murugan as the god. So you should be knowing the important gods and important cult at that point of time. So that basic information, whatever that is needed, it has been given here. Pandyas may whatever that is given, only this much that would be more than sufficient from your examination point, right? Like that Guptas also, I will just give it in your PPTs only. So whatever the important things, whatever that they have discussed in that book, that will be given to you. So just refer them, and but I will not write and give a notes as such. I just give a terminology name, author ka book name. You have to search who is the author and add it there. Because of that, active learning will happen, and you will be keep adding the things, right? So, and whatever that is taken, since I have taken only from the Upinder Singh, another thing what will happen, your job will be completely ready. You don't need to worry that something has not covered from that book. Whatever even small terminology is there, I just give the terminology, you just write it in one word, right? So that whenever you are referring, you also have the feeling that you have referred along with your standard book you are referring. I have not added any NCRT here, not because that anyways you will be studying. Again, if I add the same thing, it will not make sense. Whatever that you are not going to study, I study for you and give it here, right? So if that is there in NCRT, I don't know, right? But what I am giving, it is not in the, only in that book I am giving. What are the standard book that I want you to read, but you can't read because of its lengthiness, and arts, it's not really worth to read that much for only 2-3 questions. That will be added here and given to you. Like that, just add the things here. All right. Okay. Now next we will go to next questions. Witnesses. Looking after the fostering child. So basically they look after the child. Like that. They are not the real mothers, but they will be basically looking after the child. That is it. Next, basically Guptas. Right. Let's see what are the questions that has been come in the last 15 years. Right. With reference to forced labor, WISD in India, with reference to forced labor, WISD in India, during the Gupta period, which one of the following statement is correct? Okay. It was considered a source of income for the state, a sort of tax paid by the people. It was totally absent in Madhya Pradesh and Kathiawar region in the Gupta Empire. The forced labor was entitled to weekly wages. The eldest son of the labor was sent as the forced labor. Now, first, already they have given Vishti is a forced labor. Okay, the terminology meaning has been given. What is forced labor? What is forced labor? Whatever that you understand, what is forced labor? It is not a voluntary, right? So I tell that from every house to one person should send to work. The king has ordered. Now it is forced. You are not that you want to go. Since it is forced, right? Now think about it. It is considered a source of income for the state, a sort of tax paid by the people. Because when you are forcing someone to do the job and you are not paying him, you are forced to work for here, but you will not get the payment in return. So that is, you basically, the state is getting as a tax, because you are sending the person, instead of giving money, what you are doing, you are sending a person from your home to work for the government. Even in the Skandagupta, his inscription related to Junagadh, where he also has renovated the Sudarshana Lake, where he has told that he used the forced labor to do this job. That means that he took the people, from as a part of forced labor. They did not pay the wages for them. Only he has made them to work and made sure that the construction has been done. So that means that, the answer is this. Now, second, basically, see, it was totally absent. When it was already told that if what there in Gupta period, in Madhya Pradesh, why it will be totally absent? Or in Kathiawar region, totally absent. It was not there at all. That way, you cannot take something in history, because you are also constructing the history through various literary sources. You cannot say that something was not there at all. If it was there in larger part of basically Gupta period, it will be there across. Maybe somewhere it will be more, somewhere it will be less, but totally absent is something you can always take it off, right? So that is again gone. Now, as I told you, it is a forced labor. Then there is no point of giving you weekly wages, right? So they are one opposite to other. Even when you are thinking, you have to think that it is a forced labor, right? That means that you are not entitled to any wages as such. So this also goes wrong. Now, from the family, one person has to send. Whether it is the eldest one, youngest one, that family will decide, right? That they are not decided that only eldest son has to come. It is up to the family to send anyone when they are told to send someone to work for. So again, this is not something correct. So there is no rule as which has been spoken that only eldest son has to work as a forced labor. So automatically it was basically considered as a source of income, basically for the state, a sort of tax paid by the people. So if I don't have money this year, so what I can do? Let's say agriculture did not give any returns this year. So as what I can do as a return, somehow I have to pay the taxes to the government. Now I will tell that I don't have the money. So what will you do? So I will come and work for you for 10 days. So consider that as my tax. So don't give me anything. I will work for you. In that way, that is basically a forced tax. All right. Next, that has asked in 2019. Now 2020. With reference to the period of Gupta dynasty in ancient India, the towns of Ghantasala, Kadura and Chaul were well known as, right? Ports handling foreign trade, capitals of powerful kingdoms, places of exquisite stone art and architecture, important Buddhist pilgrimage centers. So these you can eliminate, because if there are powerful kingdom and their capital, see, always in the one thing that I always suggest whenever I take the question chances, when you have studied everything properly from chapter wise, then you should be knowing enough that if it was a very important capital of a powerful kingdom, that not even a minute kingdom, powerful kingdom, you would have heard about that name at least, right? It is not that it is where it is, you don't know, it's fine, but have you heard about these terms in the first place? No. So that means that at least if they were a major kingdom, you would be knowing the place's name. So you should be having that much of confidence with respect to your preparation, saying that if I have not done this, it is not related to capital of at least powerful kingdoms. Minor kingdom, regional kingdom, you might have missed it, but they are telling that it is a kingdom, powerful kingdom. This goes wrong, right? Now the answer is basically this, that is the ports handling the foreign trade, right? So within that, Ghantasala and Kadura, they are in the eastern coast, right? And then Chaul, it is in the western coast. So basically, when the Chandragupta II, he defeated Sakas, right, and started getting the control over the complete western part. Then this brooch, everything, he started getting the control. So the foreign trade with respect to the western countries has started improving when he got this Saka. So what he did initially, how there were major kings for basically who? One is Chandragupta, second is Samudragupta, then Chandragupta II, then Kumaragupta, then Skandagupta. These many people you should be knowing, right? So Chandragupta, he is one who started this, right, expanding the kingdom. Before that, there was Sri Gupta was there, Ghatotkacha was there, but under them they were not very powerful Gupta kingdom. But under Chandragupta, the king, the Gupta kingdom has started expanding. He married to a Lichavi princess, Kumara Devi, right? So that he got the Nepal under its control, right? So the expansion has started from him. Then his son was Samudragupta, who was that he is called as Napoleon of India by V.S. Smith, right? So because of he never been defeated by any king. So and he was very much expansion. He known for his Ashwamedha and other things. That is, he was expanding his kingdom as such, right? So and his son was basically Chandragupta II, right? Now Chandragupta II was both like he has expanded using the diplomacy like matrimonial alliance. He was known for conquering with the aggression. Now Chandragupta II was known for both of these characteristics. He know of matrimonial alliance also. He was also using the forces also. So using the matrimonial alliance, what he did? He married her daughter Prabhavati Gupta to Rudrasena II. right? So the Rudrasena too was a king somewhere here, right? That is Vakatakas, who was actually in the this part. So he made her marry. So along with them, basically there was Sakas here. Now once he had that matrimonial alliance here, they become friends. Automatically he went with them and defeated the Sakas easily, right? So once he get that friendship with them, then the defeating Sakas became very easy, and he annexed the Sakas and took the control over. Once he took the control over, he started getting Gujarat part, and he started getting the port access, so that overall, though Chaura was basically such port, that he got the access because of this. And in the eastern part anyway, Southeast Asia, we are having Ghantasala and Kadura port. So that is the important port, right? So that means that here what you have to understand, with respect to Guptas, the economy also becomes important. Their maritime trade also becomes important along with the, right? Next, with reference to guilds or shrenis of the ancient India that played a very important role in centuries, economy, which of the following statement is correct? Every guild was registered with central authority of the state, and king was the chief administrative authority on them, right? Next, the wages, rules of work, standard and prices were fixed by the guild. Guild has judicial power over the members. Okay. Now, what is this guild or shrenis? What were they? What is this guilds or shrenis? Group of, right? It is a kind of group of a profession. Maybe somebody who would be basically artisans. They have their own guild, right? Similarly, somebody will be a traders. They will be having their own guilds. Guilds is basically a group where they are having their like Sangha, that what we have having today, right? So that basically they make a group, and they were independent. They were very powerful because when they made a group with themselves, they collect the money among the members. So they used to help these kingdoms also, kings also, they used to give the money. So that is why they become very powerful. One of the powerful way of having the acting as a pressure groups during that period of time. And they were independent, right? So they were only deciding who should be the member, who should not be the member. So they were acting more like a independent kingdom. So they were not registered with any kingdom and king is the head. It was not that way. It is the other way around. They were basically having a independent authority within them. Within that, they could decide all the things. That is, what is the price of the good that they have to keep, what is the minimum standard of the goods that they are supposed to keep. That guild used to decide on that profession. Like similarly, they had a judicial power also. That means that if a member is not following it, they can punish him, they can remove him, right? So they can cancel his trading license, whatever that we are doing today. In that way, they can have the higher power. So the first was, it is not in more of an independent rather than central registry and king was them. It is more of a independent entities as such. In that way, the first one is incorrect. Second and third are correct, right? So second and third are correct. So answer should be 2 and 3. That is option C will be your answer, right? Okay. Now, which of the following are the essential elements of feudal system, right? What is feudal system? What is feudal system? Even you have studied this in world history also, right? Feudalism to capitalism, feudalism to mercantilism, mercantilism to capitalism. So what is this feudalism? So there is basically, it is basically the feudal and vassal kind of relationship, right? So I will give you some sort of protection, you have to give me this. That way, basically, that is kind of owner and vassal kind of relationship that they were having. So now, if there is a feudal system, that means that there are many small farmers will be there, zamindars will be there. They are actually giving something to the the king is in return giving something to them. When will be feudal system will be more strong? For his work, because he is having a long standing army, he is having his own revenue. Feudal system is a symbolic of what? That is basically the disintegration of the central power. where the decentralization of power has happened, because Zamindar also get the judicial power. He will decide what he has to do in his area. King will not come. So that means that basically the feudal system is a, what is it? That is a indication that the central authority is weak and the decentralization it is at the base, right? So that is why Guptas is known for more about decentralization. Mauryas is known for more about the centralization. Now, what is the first statement? Which is the essential element of the feudalism? One, a very strong centralized political authority, very weak provincial or local political authority. Is it correct? It is the other way around. A weak central authority and a strong provincial or local authority. So that means that this goes right. So 1 is incorrect, right? So 3 is anyways it is there, right? So that is creation of lord vassal relationship between feudal lord and his overlord. That is Samanta system, right? So the emergence of administrative structure based on control and possession of land. Who has more land, like Zamindars, they will act as a, get the power here, right? So that means that this is also correct. The answer is 2 and 3, right? The famous terracotta images of river Ganga and Yamuna from Gupta period have been found at Ahit Chatra, Kausambi, Rajghat, Baitargaon. Answer. Where it has been found. There are 2 goddesses, river goddesses. One is who? River Ganga. Another is Yamuna. Right. Ganga is basically, what is the vehicle of the Ganga? Crocodile. Right. And Yamuna was basically having the vehicle of what? Tortoise. And they have been shown in the various terracotta images, which has been mainly found in the Ahichatra, or in the present day it is Rampura in UP. Okay, this is a very, very important one. Even if you look at the books, the major diagrams has been given. 2, colorful diagram of Ganga and Yamuna images were given, right? So, right. Next, the only 2 known example of cave painting of Gupta period in ancient India. One of this painting is Ajanta caves. Where is the other surviving example of Gupta's paintings? Try to answer with your general knowledge, right? If you are not knowing it, it's fine. But with respect to other option, you start seeing it. When Ellora Caves has come, or who was the patronage of Ellora Caves? Satavahanas, Ellora Caves. Kailasanatha temple in Ellora Cave. Who actually did it? Rashtrakutas. Krishna I of the Rashtrakuta was actually known for Ellora Caves. Right. Lomas Rishi Cave. This we have already discussed. Lomas Rishi Caves is what? Which caves are these? These caves are given by Mauryas to Ajivikas. Right. The Dasratha, that is grandson of Ashoka, has given it to Ajivikas. Right. To make it them viharas. Right. So that is, this is about Maurya caves. Right. Similarly, Nasik caves is related to Satavahanas, right? Where we have explanation why in the name of the Satavahana king has come from their mother, right? So that you can see in the so the Bagh caves were basically contemporary of the Ajanta caves. The earlier mural paintings in the Ajanta caves and Bagh caves also you can see during the period of Gupta period. With respect to sculpture, right? Gandhara, Mathura, Amaravati sculpture has happened after post-Maurya. During Gupta period, which sculpture has come? Buddha sculpture. Which school of sculpture you can see during the Gupta period? Now you know Buddha, how they have been represented. You know Gandhara, you know Mathura, you know Amaravati. What else you know about, Buddha has been represented? Which kind of schools of art that you know? Saranath school of art. The Saranath school of Buddha has been come during the Gupta period. So that is whenever that is something related to Buddhism, different schools, then you should be knowing about it. Right? Similarly here. Again, which one of the following statement about the Gupta period is not correct? Okay. It is not about which is correct here, which is not correct is the question. So 3 will be correct, 1 will be not correct. So you have to find out which was not correct or which is not correct among the statement. Forced labor became more common than before in this period. Right? That is become a common, that is, more than before means basically now it has become prevalent, one of the major tax. It is correct or not correct? Correct. Right? Unique feature of Gupta period, that is a forced labor, the Vishti has become one of the major. Second, a passage in the Vishnu Purana refers to Guptas enjoying all the territories along the Ganga up to Prayaga. Prayaga is basically Allahabad. Right? Second, third, the Mehruli inscription suggests that Chandragupta Maurya fought against a confederacy enemies in Bengal and also led a campaign into Punjab. Fourth, Saurashtra was not a part of Gupta's empire. Where is Saurashtra? You know at least Saurashtra cricket team, right? Where it is? Gujarat, right? So Gujarat was under whom? Sakas. Then Chandragupta II defeated Sakas. Then Saurashtra also became part of the Guptas. That is what the history is about, right? So then they got the control over this thing. Again, whatever that we have discussed already, how he defeated Sakas, that is become the end of the Saka and Gupta became. So that means that it was not part initially, but later during the period of Chandragupta II, it became a part of this thing. So that is what you have to understand, how the territorial expansion has happened during the period. So that means that this is not correct. It was part of Gupta Empire rather than not part of the Gupta Empire. All right. Again, life-size terracotta images of river Ganga and Yamuna dating to period 300 to 600 AD have been found. Right. This is, and in another exam it has been asked again. Right. Ahit Chatra Uttar Pradesh, Aknur Kashmir, Devino Mori Gujarat, Baitargaon Uttar Pradesh. What is the answer? Ahit Chatra. So you can see that it has been so important that it will be keep asking in different examination. Now what is this Baitargaon is known for? Neolithic site. Maybe Neolithic site, maybe that may be a Neolithic site. But what is during the Gupta period it is known for? Rock cut temples. Yeah, brick made temples basically, right? So it is basically the wooden art temple kind of thing, right? So that you can see, not the rock cut as such basically, but it is a wooden temple or brick temple that you can see in the Baitargaon, and also in Diogar you can see the early Nagara style of temples, right? So important temples that you should be knowing during that point of time, you should be knowing, right? So that is basically brick made temples. Similarly, ruler Vindhya Shakti during the period of preceding the Gupta age is associated with which one of the following dynasty? Right. The ruler Vindhya Shakti during the period preceding the Gupta age is associated with which one of the following dynasty? Vindhya Shakti is who? He is the founder of Vakataka dynasty. Right. Vindhya Shakti is founder of Vakataka dynasty, who are contemporary of Guptan Empire. Right. So Vakatakas is the right. Which one of the following statement about Gupta coin is not correct? What you know about numismatics of Guptas before looking into the answer? They were known for what? Which metal coins they were known for? Gold coins, they were majorly giving the gold coin which was called as dinars, right? Also, when the Chandragupta II won against the Saka king, then he started giving the silver coin also, which was called as rupakas, right? So copper coins were very, very rare, but gold was major, right? And then followed by silver. They're known for having this kind. So, but the quality of gold was not that great, right? They're just having the gold coating kind of stuff, right? Gupta king issued large number of gold coin known as dinars, correct? Chandragupta II, Kumaragupta, Skandagupta, Buddhagupta issued silver coin. That is after Chandragupta II, they have started issuing the silver coin. Before Chandragupta, you don't see the Chandragupta II, you don't see the silver coin. Once he won against the Shakas, then he started issuing the silver coin. After that, next king started issuing the silver coin, which is called as rupakas, right? The obverse of coins are carved with images of the king and reverse carved with the deities. One side the king image was there, another side you can see the image of gods that they were prizing, right? So it can be the god, goddess Durga, or it can be any god that they were doing, and there one side there was a king and another side there was a deity. Last one, the largest number of coins issued by Guptas were copper. It is incorrect. Copper was there, but at a very, very less level, right? So answer is fourth is incorrect, right? Among the precious stone, most extensive foreign trade during Gupta age was that of diamonds, ruby, pearl, sapphire. Now this is okay. So this is diamonds, though it won't be there, because we know that in diamond only Golconda is known for diamond mining, and that cannot be the largest one, because only one center is there, means it cannot be the largest one, right? It is basically the pearl, right? The pearl is the largest one. So if you look at the, right, then with reference to scientific progress of ancient India, which of the following statement given are correct? Different kind of specialized surgical instrument were common in the use by the 1st century AD. Okay. Second, transplant of internal organs in the human body has begun by beginning of 3rd century AD. Third, the concept of sine of an angle was known to 5th century AD. Fourth, the concept of cyclic quadrilateral was known to 7th century, in the 11th century AD. Now, first, if you want to remove, or if you want to include it, this is correct. So, see, always, one thing you have to understand, whenever you are solving a question, the best way of solving the question is always not to eliminate. Because eliminate means once you decide this is not correct, then automatically even others you won't see, somehow you try to adjust it, right? So it is always important that many students do this mistake. What they do, let's say if I say this is incorrect, I just feel that it is incorrect. So what I will do, I will remove this, I will remove this, I will remove this. 3 and 4 only is correct, is left out, I will say that it is correct. So now it has been forced on me, right? Let's say if similarly if I say the third question is incorrect, third statement is incorrect. So what will happen? You will see third here, 3 here, 3 here, then it will come as these are the answer. So that rather than doing it, so because of the problem is you are forcing, that means that if 3 is incorrect, answer will become 1 and 2. If answer is 1 and 2, that also means that what? 4 is also incorrect. Now, without thinking about fourth, you have to take that choice because you have already decided that third was incorrect. Only you have to eliminate once you are 100% sure. Rather than that, always better choice would be adding the things which are correct. Right, now let's say if I read this, different kind of specialized surgical instruments. Right, surgical instruments means it can be for very taking the scalps out, all the surgical instrument we are talking about, they were common use by 1st century AD. Right, now when you know that Sushruta, you are knowing about, so that means that at that point of time it was already there. So that means that let's say if it is correct, then what I will do, I will think that answer should be this and this. Now one, let's say one you are comfortable with, then what will happen? In the options, you will be left with these two, right? So now go to the next option. Transplant of internal organs in the human body has begun. Transplant of bits, that is you are taking the liver of one person and putting the liver of other person, or kidney of one person to another person. So that is heart, whatever that is transplant of the organ. Was it common during that period of time? So with your knowledge only you tell me. Was it common the transplant of organ was there? The surgery was there. They used to remove the cataracts, the, what is that? The skin implant, what is that you say? Plastic surgery, that was there. You remove the skin, rhinoplasty was there, right? But what was not there? The internal organ transplantation was not there. So that means that this will become incorrect. So if it is incorrect, answer will be 1, 3 and 4. Now if you see, concept of sine of an angle is known to them. Here not even given information who has found it. By 5th century AD, they will note the sine of the angle, right? Hypotenuse by this thing, right? Similarly, cyclic quadrilat was known to them by 7th century. Broader statement, known to them is always a broader statement. You don't need to worry too much about it. You can consider them as correct, right? But the transplant of internal organ was not basically has begun, right? Small surgery was there, and the what is that? Skin transplantation that was there basically, right? Otherwise, then these two are correct. So if you look at it, this become more correct. Broader statement you can always consider it as correct, right? So answer should be 1, 3 and 4, right? Next, which of the following statement are correct regarding Bakhshali manuscript and Aryabhata, right? The Bakhshali manuscript written using Sharda script deals with topics such as fraction, square root, arithmetic and geometry, right? Second, Aryabhata described the value of pi correct to 4 decimal places as 3.1416. Okay. So which of the following are correct? Both 1 and 2, right? This is another type of question. So if you look at it, with respect to development in the science and technology during the Guptas is what has been asked regularly. That is what they did for mathematics, what they did for medical science, what they did for astronomy. These three subjects with respect to Aryabhata, Varahamihira, then basically Brahmagupta. These three important, astronomy as well as for the mathematics, you should be knowing about them, right? Bakhshali manuscript, right? It is on the birch. They have written some manuscript here, right? It was belonged to a Gupta period. Not that Guptas may they have written it, but it is belonged to a Gupta period, right? Amarasimha is the name of Amarasimha written what? Amarakosha. So what is this? He is known for famous lexicographer of ancient India, Rajput king of Chalukya lineage, poet mentioned by Kautilya in his Arthashastra, dance form of Odisha. So answer is, he is one of the 9 poets or 9 jewel under Chandragupta II, Navaratnas under the Chandragupta II. He is famous lexicographer, right? So that is, writing dictionary and other things, right? So next, with reference to history of India, term Kulyavapa, Dronavapa denotes what? Right? A measurement of land, coin of different monetary value, classification of urban land, religious rituals. It is a measurement of land, right? So it is a type of measuring the land, right? So again, if you look at it, these are the questions that has been asked in the Guptas, right? Again, what is the observation that you are seeing? One, their administration becomes important because there is a gradual change from centralized to decentralization, right? So that is one thing that is important. Now within that, you can ask about, the Bhukti, who is being headed by Uparika, then comes basically your district level Vishya, then it has been headed by Vishyapati. Like that, basically they can ask about their administrative structure because they are having a pan-India presence. One. Second, with respect to art and architecture becomes very, very important, especially the literature, the contribution, as well as, some political history kind of question has been asked with respect to numismatics, because they were known for issuing the largest gold coin. So because of which basically that is unique in the kingdom compared to other kingdom. So the coins has been much more asked. You can see that, Samudragupta coin, who is playing the veena, right? So he himself was playing the veena. That kind of things also has been seen. So that is coins can be one another kind of question. Then their contribution with respect to science and technology, or mathematics, astronomy, as well as medicine, that becomes very, very important, right? Again, similarly, towns and economic trade, whichever the places that they were known in the place, that has to be prepared in detail, right? So again, as I told you, for this, what I will do, I will give you all the list that is there in the book, whatever the important terms are there, with respect to Kalidasa, which books has been written, which books to, various, Mruchakatika, or, Shudraka's Mruchakatika, all these books, right? So, all the important literary work, because that has been considered as a golden period in the Indian history because of its contribution in the art and architecture as well as in the science and technology. So, everything becomes very important from that chapter. So, that we will cover through the PPTs. Rather than having the classes, that I will give it. So, you just go through the topics that has been mentioned there. So, in that way, you cover entire, right? So, this is the kind of question. Again, what you have to understand is how much minute they are asking. Have you asking anything about Skandagupta? What you are supposed to know? What you should know about Skandagupta? He basically repelled the Huns invasion, right? Because if he has been, defeated by Huns, then Huns would have been invaded India, and then the history would have been completely different. He is the one who repelled the Huns back. Even during the Kumaragupta, he could not do that. But Skandagupta successfully, repelled the Huns. So that becomes one thing that you should be knowing about Skandagupta. Second is, he is basically renovation of the Sudarshana Lake. That is related to Junagadh inscription. With respect to important inscription, you should be knowing about Allahabad pillar inscription, with related to whom? Samudragupta, which has been written by Harisena. What it has been told about, what is his conquest, everything it has been told about. That is one thing. Where he has mentioned about different kingdoms, in the part of Samudragupta, how it was there. The far south, that is Pallava, they were there, how they were being treated. Some being treated annexed, some being not annexed, but told that you will be under me, but you will be ruling your own. Like that, there were different classification on the different part of the history, India, there were different way he was handling the kingdom. So that has been mentioned. So that is about Allahabad. During the Chandragupta too, there is Meheruli iron pillar inscription. That becomes pillar inscription, which has not been rusted after 1600 years also. So that also becomes known for its technology, advanced technology, that becomes important, right? Like that, knowing about their inscription, literary source, right? Various books that has been written, and give the detail with respect to their system. Sati system was prevalent, which can be seen during the Iran inscription. Iran inscription in the Madhya Pradesh talks about the Sati system. So that is also you can see through there, this thing, and the rigid caste system, women, other things that has been there. Then foreign travelers, especially you should be knowing about Fahin, who has been came to Gupta period during the Chandragupta too, right? So that you should be knowing. What is his observation, you should be knowing, right? The major observation what he has seen through. Only that much should be more than sufficient. And with respect to religious, they were supported, more of a Hindu goddess will also be there. Along with that, Buddhism, that is the Sarana school of Buddhism has been emerged. Then along with rock cut architecture or rock cave, basically within the cave architecture you have Ajanta and Baga, that you should be knowing, right? Similarly, the temple architecture has started beginning during the time of Guptas, where you know that Baitargam you should be knowing, Diogar you should be knowing, the important temple name you should be knowing about them, right? Again, for these things, whatever there in your images in your NCRT, they become very, very important, right? Then, they patronize Jainism also. Veni Chaityas, Karle Chaitya, all this has been again been supported, that you are supposed to know about them, right? Again, as I told you, I will just give that all the topics that are there in the list. I'll just give you the list name in the PPTs that I just upload in the group, right? You will be in that prelims guidance group. So where I will upload that PPT, so you can access that PPT, but it will not be a notes like your class notes. It will be only topic name will be there. It is your responsibility to search it and add the things, right? Otherwise, it becomes again one more note, then the purpose will be defeated. I just give the read them, take the topic and give it to you. You add that topic in front of that, you just can download it, or you can take the printout of it and write one word what it is about it. That's it. So once you do it, you will be having 5 pages on Guptas, 3 pages on Sangam. Like that, you will be having the notes. Right. Now, before going further, another thing is you should be knowing about the contemporaries. Right. During the Guptas, who were there, right? Have the broader contemporaries. Now again, one map that I have taken. So just know about here if there are Guptas, here Vakatakas, here Kadambas, here there were Pallavas, here Nalas, like that important kingdoms you should be knowing, including the smaller kingdom, right? Pitri Bhaktas, like that having the broader one map. If you are having that broader understanding, that would be more than sufficient, right? Right. All right. Now we'll solve 3 MCQs, right? So those from the online, you give it in the comment, right? So the Allahabad pillar inscription is a key source of reign of Samudragupta. What does it reveal about his policy towards the kingdom of the south? That is, we have seen that there were Pallavas, right? So what was his kingdom and what he was doing with respect to his policy towards the kingdoms of the south? How he has treated them, whether he annexed them, whether he gave them to do the whatever that is, right? So one, he annexed their territories and integrated them directly into Gupta Empire. Second, he defeated the southern rulers, but then reinstated them to rule as his tributaries. He established matrimonial alliance with all the southern kingdoms. He ignored the southern kingdom entirely, focusing only on the north and west. Okay, this is first question. Now this is the second question. Which of the specific achievement is most famously attributed to Gupta Emperor Skandagupta? Assuming the title of Vikramaditya after defeating the Sakas, composing the Prayag Prashasti, successfully repelling the first major invasion of the Huns, founding the Nalanda University. Third question. With reference to scientific advancement during the Gupta period, consider the following statements. Aryabhatta correctly theorized that solar and lunar eclipse are caused by shadows of the earth and moon. Second, the Sushruta Samhita, a text detailing advanced surgical procedure, was widely used and compiled during this era. Third, the famous iron pillar of Delhi demonstrates Gupta's advanced knowledge of rust-proof iron metallurgy. Okay, so you can see this question, right? So now, okay, for online student, you can just write it in the comment box and see that what is the answer, and here we will discuss. Okay. First question. It is a key source. What did he do with southern kingdoms? Now again, this you don't need to again think about, I don't know the history. You see about what was happening about during that period. Different kingdom was there. Were they basically first option? He annexed their territories and integrated them directly into Gupta Empire. Is it correct? Because Pallavas were there altogether. So that means that if he has annexed and taken it under Gupta, then Pallava would not be there parallelly. Chalukyas would not be there parallelly. So that means that even if you know that they have also history, so that means that the annexed did not happen and integrated into Gupta Empire did not happen. So that way, basically, whatever your understanding is there, that you have to apply and see. You cannot think that, pillar inscription I have to read. I did not, read all those detail about pillar inscription. What makes sense or not, that you have to see. Second, he defeated the southern rulers but reinstated them to rule as his tributaries. Right. Third, he established matrimonial alliance with all the southern kingdoms. Fourth, he ignored southern kingdom entirely, focusing only on the north and west. Which will be correct? D. B. He defeated southern ruler but reinstated them as to rule as their tributaries. He defeated them, but he never went there and started ruling there, because it becomes too much to do that, right? So he had that relationship of this thing, right? So, but here again, it is not that you have studied or not. You have to use your basic understanding and then attend the question. That is why this kind of question has been given. Otherwise, factual question would have been given here, right? Specific achievement most famously attributed to Gupta Emperor Skandagupta. assuming the title of Vikramaditya after defeating Sakas. Who did this? Who assumed the title of Vikramaditya after defeating Sakas? Who defeated the Sakas? Chandragupta II. So that is actually for Chandragupta II. Next, composing the Prayag Prashasti. That is, Prayag means Allahabad. Allahabad Prashasti or Allahabad inscription. During whom it has been composed? Samudragupta, composed by his court poet Harisena. So it is nothing to do with Skandagupta. Skandagupta, which inscription is there? Junagar inscription is there. Third, successfully repelling the first major invasion of the Hunas or Huns. That is correct. Founding the Nalanda University. During whose time Nalanda University has been founded? Kumaragupta. Right. So different kingdom I have just added so that you can attend it. So answer would be successfully be repelling the political history, only that much it is enough to understand. Right. With respect to scientific advancement during Gupta period, consider the following statements. Okay. Aryabhatta correctly theorized solar and lunar eclipse are caused by shadows of the earth and moon. Aryabhatta, whether he is having a sun-centric universe or earth-centric universe. What was his idea about? Whether he was thinking that that is earth revolve around the sun or the sun revolve around the earth. Which was the center as per him? Sun-centric or earth-centric? He was believed that sun is rounding the earth. So earth-centric. Other things he has told correct. Why lunar eclipse will happen, moon will come in between. Because of the sun and earth, that is why eclipse will happen. That he has identified correctly. Solar eclipse he identified correctly. But he was not having a heliocentric approach. Heliocentric means sun is at the center. Rather, he was having earth-centric world. So he was thinking that, because he was seeing that sun is coming in the morning and, setting in the evening. Rising in the morning, setting in the evening. He is thinking that the sun is basically revolving around the, earth. So he was thinking the earth-centric universe, not the other way around. Though these are small things that you should be knowing, where you can get confused in the examination hall, right? Second, so that anyways, first statement is correct. Second, a text detailing advanced surgical procedure was widely used because it was already there during the 1st century, 2nd century AD only. So that means that it was widely used during the Gupta period. Widely used is again a broader statement. It was there, and if it was used, then it is widely used becomes correct. Next, the famous iron pillar demonstrates the Gupta's advanced knowledge about rust-proof iron metallurgy. Again, it is correct. So answer will be all three of them are correct. Right? Finally, the last part, that is post-Guptas. Okay. Here you don't get too many questions. Okay. So only Harshavardhana is there. Then along with Harshavardhana, you have in post-Guptas the contemporaries, like again Chalukyas. Here you are having Pallavas. Along with that, the Gaudas, where the Solang, the king Shashanka was there, where he was fighting, Harshavardhana was fighting the battles, right? Only that, contemporary source becomes important. Within that, again, if you look at Chalukyas and Pallavas, it is more about what? You should be knowing more from the perspective of cultural history, because they have culturally contributed more. Only that, in the Ayole inscription, where, they have spoken about how the Pulakeshi II has defeated Harshavardhana, and basically it has been given. So that is only one information. And then during Harshavardhana, the Kanauj assembly becomes very, very important. Along with that, some of the, the Huon song who, came to there and, whatever that his observation, because even the Banabhatta has been written about Harsha Charita. So, praising the Harsha. The comparison between Banabhatta, what he has seen, and Huon Singh, what he has seen, that can also be asked if they want to go little deeper. Only this much they have to ask. But within that, how administration is there, you don't need to worry about. Initially, Harshavardhana was there at the, Tanesar, then come to Kanauj. That basically you should be knowing. He belongs to that Pushyabhuti, then he came here to the Tanesar and then made the capital here at the Kanauj. And at that point of time, from the Gangetic plain to the Tanesar, the Kanauj has become the major center because it is more fertile and that has become more fought for the battles, right? So only that much you are supposed to know, right? Then later the tripatriate struggle has happened. Well, where tripatriate struggle has happened? Pala, Gujra, Pratiharas, Rashtrakutas, where they fought for? Kanauj, right? So that is basically the Kanauj becomes strategically important place. From Pataliputra, later it has shifted to where? Kanauj, right? So the in that way the history also that becomes a more fighting ground basically, right? Later that even if you look at Panipat war, that part has become more the politically more heated kind of that after in the mid-century. So that you are supposed to know about it. That's it about basically Harshavardhana. Not much about his contribution in other things, but otherwise he has also written few books, right? Ratnavali he has written. So the books has been written by him also, very important. Only that much that the broader level. And the social changes what has happened during that point of time, the feudalism become much more stronger, right? And because of this Brahmadeya, Agrahara, whatever the land grants that has been given, the economy has further affected, right? And that is how the decline of the economy has been happened after the post-Gupta, because of more feudalistic nature of the economy. That you should be knowing about how the system has changed. Other than that, you don't be asking too many questions from there with respect to the contemporary. And from the cultural part, they are important anyways. That anyways, when we are covering the culture, we will cover Chalukyas in detail, Pallavas in detail, Cholas in detail from the cultural perspective rather than from the political perspective, right? Which of the following phrases define the nature of the hundi generally referred to in the sources of the post-Harsha period? An advisory issued by the king to his subordinates, a diary to be maintained for daily accounts, a bill of exchange, an order from the feudal lord to his subordinates. Bill of exchange. Okay. Next. From the decline of Gupta until the rise of Harshavardhana, which of the following kingdom were holding power in northern India? Right. Select the correct answer using the quotes given below. Again, see, don't try to imagine too much. Now you have to think about Harshavardhana first, during the period of Harshavardhana. Right, Harshavardhana coming from which place? Pushyabhuti kingdom. So that means that the Pushyabhuti of Taneshwar or Tanesar has to be there, right? So later where he shifted to? Kanauj. So that means that Mahakaurya of Kanauj has to be there at that point of time. So these two should be there because anyways at that point of time only basically the Harshavardhana has emerged as a king. That means that contemporary kingdom was there, and once the Guptas were basically defeated, later Guptas were there. They were not as strong as real Guptas, but later Guptas were there. So the Guptas was Magadha was also continued. It is not that Gupta has ended and it become zero. The later Guptas was basically very weak, that they cannot be defined as a separate kingdom as such. They were the later Gupta of Magadha was also there. Now Paramaras of Malwa, right? Paramaras means who? Who was the king here? Paramara, famous king. Jaipala. That is when they came, they belong to which era? See, now one thing, see, whenever you are seeing in the question, if it is talking about Harshavardhan to Gupta, first thing you think that it is a question of ancient India, right? Up to Harshavardhana we talk that it is a ancient India. Now Paramaras, which period they belong to? Ancient India, medieval India, modern India, which period they belong to? Do you study them in the ancient India? They come to basically the early medieval period, right? So that is there basically post Harsha. There around 10th century you can see basically Paramara, the Boja king, right? So that is basically you can see them in the part of 10th century, right? Then Yadavas of Devgiri, right? They came much later, that is 12th century, right? So that's what I told you, first class, that the timeline becomes very important. You don't need exact timeline, at least century wise, during this time, who are the contemporaries. Next time, during Harshavardhana, who are the contemporaries. Like that, if you when you study, you will be knowing that who came after whom, so that it becomes easy to attend the question which are based on the timelines, right? So these two are basically the medieval kingdom. So 2 and 5 should not be there, right? So answer is 1, 3, 4 and 6, right? That is Maitrakas of Vallabhis was there. Along with that, Pushyamitra anyways you can take. Along with that, you can take the Maukaris of Kanajas also you can take. So that because that Harshavardhana has shifted from here to here, that means that those those kingdom were already there at that part of time, right? So answer would be 1, 3, 4 and 6. Now Chinese pilgrim Fahin attended the 4th great Buddhist council held by Kanishka, right? Who is Kanishka? Kushana king, right? When did Fahin came? During the period of whom? Chandragupta II, not Chandragupta Maurya, right? Chandragupta Maurya is the founder of Maurya kingdom, right? So even when I am studying, I also keep doing that mistake. Chandragupta Maurya, Chandragupta, interchangeably using it, right? So Chandragupta II is basically he came in the 5th century almost, right? But during Kushanas, which is much earlier, 72 AD, right? Where the Saka era has started, right? The 4th Buddhist council has happened. Kushana was during the time of Kanishka it has happened, right? So it was nothing to related with Fahin. Fahin came much later, right? So that means that the first statement is in. Now, Chinese pilgrim Huan Sang met Harsha and found him to be antagonistic to Buddhism. He is against the Buddhism. Was he against the Buddhism or is in favor of Buddhism? He called the Kanauj assembly, right? So he was basically pro of a Mahayana Buddhism, right? So that means that basically the second statement is also incorrect. So both statement 1 and statement 2, both are incorrect. Neither 1 nor 2 will be your answer, right? Right. The last question asked in 2023: who among the following is the author of Kirtara Junior? Maga, Baravi, Basa, Bhavabhuti. Baravi, right? Baravi or Baravi is basically the author of this. What Maga has written? Which book Maga has written? He has written Shishupala Vada, right? What Basa has written? Basa has written Swapnavasadatta, right? Swapnavasadatta has been written by Basa. And what Bhavabhuti has written? What Bhavabhuti has written? Bhavabhuti has written Uttara Ramacharita, right? So again, it is a very important book. Even Bhavabhuti they had asked, Bhavabhuti, Hastamalla, they have given 3 names and asked who are they? Poets, architects, like that, in 2023 they had asked, just the names has been given and asked what they are actually, right? So, that way Bhavabhuti has been again asked, right? So just you should know what he has written. He has written Uttara Rama Charita, right? That is about your ancient India, right? So I'll share that 100 question ka file in the group, so you can get that all that 100 question and other PPTs as I told you, the Sangam age I will share today, right? And other things whatever that is related to, Guptas I will share 1 or 2 days. That is, it is around 150, 160 pages within that book. So I have to go through it once and then I will add them, right? So Along with that, we'll do 2-3 questions. And as I told you, have the broader understanding. This is basically from 700 to 1200, which is fine. Okay. Now, those who are watching online, you can basically solve it in the comment section. But here we'll solve it. So, regarding the reign of Emperor Harshavardhana, consider the following statement. He shifted his administrative capital from Taneshwar to more central located city of Kanauj. Second is biography. The Harsha Charita was composed by his court poet Banabhatta. Third, his southward military expansion was decisively stopped by the Chalukya king Pulikeshi II on the bank of Narmada river. Okay, this is first question. Second, in the context of Huan Song relationship with Emperor Harshavardhana, consider the following statement. Huan Song's travelogue, the Siyuki, portrays Harsha as a devout patron of Hinayana Buddhism. Harsha organized a grand religious assembly at Kannauj to honor the Huan Song and debate the principle of Mahayana. Which of the following statements are correct? 2 questions. That is a small chapter, so having 2 questions would be fine. Right? Okay. Now we'll solve this. He shifted his administrative capital from Taneshwar to more central located Kannauj. Correct? Yes. Right. You have to in the exam how they can change. They will make it Kannauj to Taneshwar. They just interchange the things. In the exam hurry, what will happen? You know that it is Taneshwar also, Kannauj also. So you will put it is correct without even reading it twice. So always they just interchange. UPSC, they don't do major changes. Right. Next, his biography, Harshacharita, was written by his court poet Banabhatta. They will change the name. Banabhatta to someone else. Only in the nouns, they just change the things to check. While reading also, you have to be make sure that nouns you are reading it properly. You always think that where the question can be. So second is correct. Yes. Third is southward military expansion was decisively stopped by Chalukya king Pulikeshi II on the bank of Narmada river. Right. Now similarly, this also can be changed on the bank of Ganga river. Right. So or on the bank of basically Kaveri river. They just change it or Tungabhadra river. So he went there because you feel that okay, he came till southern kingdom and then he has been defeated. So you have to be wherever these nouns are there when you are reading. You basically don't observe the nouns, but in the examiner just changes in the nouns. Right. So all Pulikeshi 2, they will make it Pulikeshi 1. Or Vikramaditya 6. Chalukya king Vikramaditya 6. Wherever noun is there, they just try to change it. So you have to be very careful. So answer will be all of them are correct. Second, Huan Song travelogue Siyuki portrays Harsha as a devout patron of Hinayana Buddhism. Is it correct? False. Now, what they have done? Instead of Mahayana Buddhism, they have changed it to Hinayana Buddhism. So, whenever you are reading these kind of things, even in the book also, you have to mark, okay, this is a noun. Hinayana can be interchanged to Theravada Buddhism. Hinayana can change to Mahayana Buddhism. I have to be careful. So that when you are revising second time, you will always be careful because you are expecting that examiner may change it. So, when you have seen it, you will not get confused even if they change it in the examination hall. Right? Clearly organized grand religious to honor the Huan Song and debate the principle of Mahayana. Here it is correct. Right? Here, I should have changed it to Hinayana, but I, just forgot to change it to Hinayana. Right? Otherwise, I should have changed it to Kannauj and then discuss the Hinayana. Then this would also become incorrect. But, or I would have just added it only to honor Huan Song. Up to that also it would have been fine. Because here, there is a contradicting within the first 2 statements only. If this is correct, then this cannot be correct. If this is correct, then this cannot be correct. Right? So, anyways, the second statement is correct. Right? The first statement is incorrect. Right? So, that is answer will be 2 only. Right? So, that is about your ancient India. So, keep it simple. Now, if you have seen this many questions, are they going to too minute detail that you are getting confused? No. Right? So, if it is morely about the broader things, so that is why don't try to mug up too many facts. Because many students has, come and ask me, sir, in my notes there are too many facts. How to remember all this? Right? Then if you see that many facts, basically you cannot remember in the first place. Right? So, have to understand that what is the kind of question that they are asking, Overall philosophical level I will understand. Terminologies, few things which are very important I will remember, right? And you should feel that it is important. Then you should be, because for example, we are talking about the king dying by suiciding himself by not having something. That is a unique feature that is not been seen anywhere else. After that it has not been seen, right? So that is why it is a kind of unique practice. That is why it becomes important. It was not that if king is defeated, he will, because of the shame itself, he will die, right? That used not to happen after later in the part of the history, right? So it is a unique feature. That is why that kind of word in terminologies can be asked. Or some land, something related to revenues, taxes, that terminology will be asked, right? Minute or administrative terminology if the kingdom is pan-India kingdom, right? So in that way you are supposed to cover them, all right? So that is it about ancient India. So tomorrow or day after tomorrow we'll start CSAT, right? So CSAT, as I told you, it will be online. So what as the idea is this, that it will be given as one topic. Weekly there will be two topics basically and two practice questions. That is, practice question means two sessions on the practice question. It will work like this, right? I just explain it how we are planning. If you want any changes, we can discuss that also. So we'll discuss, let's say unit digit is one chapter, one topic in the number system. That will be discussed for 15 minutes. How different kind of question can be asked in unit digit, the basic concept. That is one video. Next video will be whatever the PYQ has been asked on this topic, this will be discussed, right? So that, one day only 15 minutes or 20 minutes you are giving and learning that concept. It is not being pressurized to have 1 hour, 2 hour of session, too many question has been solved. Initially you felt good, after going home it becomes a bouncing over the head and becoming this. So what we are doing, we have one topic and next day or next day it will be basically about questions. Again, when I discuss this question, I will give you 1 or 2 questions to practice, so that when you are having that PYQ being solved, you will be in a better position to solve it. So once this is discussed, 2-3 questions, as I told you now, you comment the question or in the answer, like that I will give. You can write your answer in the YouTube comment only. Like that you can. Yes. So next, this will be PYQ. All the questions that asked in UPSC in the last 15 years with respect to that topic will be discussed. Right. So again, you can pause and answer it. But here I won't be pausing it. I will be telling the answer. So once question is there, you pause the video, answer it, again see the answers, whether it is correct or not. Like that when you do it, otherwise you just listen to it, you understand it, but you don't solve it. You pause it, you solve it, right? But however, I will be basically solving it, because otherwise in YouTube video, I cannot give 10 or 2 minutes, 3 minutes breaks in the video. So you give break of 1.5 minutes for you, you try to solve it. And if you are not able to solve, then continue the video. Like that, basically you do the things. Like that, 2 conceptual videos, 2 PYQs on that topic. Like that, weekly 2 topics we are going to cover. So major important things. As the time goes, the basics are covered, then we will have a larger topic, like 2 topics per day. Like that we will cover. Once your base is set, then we will go to the difficult topics or the this thing topic. So we'll start with the number system only, because that is what somebody has to become strong at. Other things are more formula based. Once you understand the concept, you can do. Number system, it is not more formula, but it is about understanding the things. So we'll start from that. All right. Okay then. Okay. So next we'll start medieval India next week.